Hey there, Aquarius, and welcome to your January 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, creatives, and anybody who's working on their self-expression in any way, as well as personal growth and spiritual development. So if those areas of life are intriguing to you, I encourage you to go ahead and keep watching. I also want to remind you really quickly that you can use these readings for your sun, moon, or your rising sign, and it's normal if sometimes none of them resonate, especially at the beginning of the month, because we're looking at future energies here, and we're also looking at general readings. So these energies are going to play out in different ways for each person, and so just want you to keep that in mind and maybe come back to this reading at the end of the month, because a lot of times the feedback that I get is that it didn't make sense at the beginning, but then it makes sense a lot more by the end. Before I do each reading, I tune in during meditation to get any intuitive, direct from spirit insights that I can relay that will be helpful. And for you, as I was tuning in, I was given this impression of a really smooth, kind of glassy surface of water, and it was nighttime, and I could see the stars, and I could see a full moon represented kind of in the reflection. And it was sort of giving me this feeling of, I want to say tenderness is kind of the emotion that accompanied it, but it was also a sense of like needing to engage in something that feels really fun and playful, and that kind of awakens your like playful spirit in a way, Aquarius. So I don't know if you've been taking on a lot, or if you've been working really hard, or if you've set some pretty big goals for yourself and you're kind of getting stronger within yourself to accomplish those. But I feel like there's a deep need this month for some kind of playful self-expression, some kind of creativity that may or may not be for a financial gain, at some point. It's more just for the enjoyment of the moment. And yes, it could be, having more fun in your business if you're already a creative entrepreneur, but it could also be picking up a hobby, or maybe an instrument that you haven't played in a while and really kind of tapping back into that. If you used to play some kind of stringed instrument but you haven't done it in a while, maybe it's like time to get that out and start working with it again. Or maybe it's singing or dancing or painting or something. But I feel like there's this really profound ability to kind of, I want to say with the image of the moon on the water, it's like this higher vibration that you can reach. And at the same time, you're going to be learning something new, even if whatever this activity is familiar to you. Like, you're going to be learning something new about yourself and maybe about just life in general. So I think it's really important also for you to be like gentle on yourself right now, and to really encourage yourself to do things that either you're telling yourself that you don't have time for, or that maybe on some level you're afraid of doing. Okay, so there is a sense of overcoming some resistance, I want to say, when it comes to creative enterprises or activities or just fun things that you want to give yourself permission to do but you haven't been. That is coming through as like a really strong message of how you can actually maximize your potential this month and as we move forward into the year of 2020. Okay, so let's take a look. Aquarius. And we'll also get some messages from your Animal Spirit Oracle cards. Now, I was just now getting this impression that there's somebody that you want to interact with, but I feel like they're kind of a little bit distant. This is just coming through kind of spontaneously, but it feels like there's someone that you are thinking, maybe it's a friend that you don't live close to, or somebody that you used to normally talk to or see on a regular basis, that you're like wanting to connect with this person again. I don't know why this is coming through so randomly. Okay, so we have Spider and the Black Egg as the influence or the energy, with Spider being your path. So this is really powerful. Coming back to our themes of creativity, self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, this particular Animal Spirit Oracle reading is like bang on that subject. So the Spider as your path, this card is all about kind of finding your Dharma. And your Dharma is your path of service. It's your path of selfless service to the world. It's how you can share your gifts and use the talents and the inclinations and the life force that you have been given to benefit and create beneficial things in the world for others and yourself. So it's a very strong card that has to do with like taking your sense of responsibility for not only your gifts and your talents and traits, but also kind of like the way that we feel bonded to our community, even like the way that we feel a sense of responsibility to do something that's helpful or do something that is going to extend some kind of positive force beyond just our immediate influence. So there's almost a serious tone with this, but it's good. It's purposeful. It feels really good. The lesson that you're learning is the Black Egg, which has to do with the fifth chakra, which is all about your communication. It's all about speaking your truth. It's about really being willing to stand up and say, you know, or draw attention to or bring the energy of truth to things that are not being said or that are being ignored or that are being neglected in our personal lives, but also socially and in terms of the community element as well, because that Spider card did come up. So what we see here are these two themes, right? Of like your life purpose and your life path, your Dharma, which is the Spider, what you can give to the world at your highest potential is your path. But then the lesson or what's kind of blocking you or challenging you is literally the throat. So some of you could be having literal experiences of, you know, throat tightness when you go to speak something out there. Or maybe if you're starting a YouTube channel, I know this is something I have encountered and plenty of other people have encountered, where when you start to maybe put content out there and you're speaking and you're using your voice, you can have reactions in this part of your body where you might be tensing your throat a little bit, or you might have to drink some hot tea a lot more often, or you might literally be feeling that your truth is changing, and so you're trying to evolve the way that you communicate and what you communicate in order that it matches and aligns with the energies of your fourth chakra, your heart. So there's this sense of like evolution that's happening with your life purpose and the sense of what you're here to do. And then there's this really strong need and almost this overwhelming kind of impulse right now to communicate and share about that in a bigger way. But at the same time, that's going to be challenging. And that's just like how the cookie crumbles, you know, that's life. But I do feel that you're going to be successful at this, and honestly, this energy does feel like it's going further than January, okay? But you're definitely dealing with a significant part of it right now. Okay, let's take a look at your cards. We've got the Hermit, the Star, your card, the Two of Cups, and the Eight of Cups, Seven of Cups with the Devil, Page of Wands, and the Tower. Okay. Really interesting reading. This is a powerful reading. So the first two cards are majors, and then you also have the Devil and the Tower at the end of the month. So what we see here with the first two cards, the Hermit and the Star, this is about as you go into the year, this is clearly saying that Aquarius is getting to know Aquarius, right? Like Aquarius is being given, or giving, you know, him or herself the ability to find, almost the word that's coming to mind here, and this is so random, but the word that's coming to mind is libretto, okay? Libretto is like a little pamphlet that is passed out when you go to see an opera or a play in another language, and it has information about the acts and the things that are going on, so that if you don't speak the language, you can kind of follow along with it. So this is kind of a really deep thing, but I feel like as you go into the year, you're kind of encountering your personal, like, table of contents of life, or you're formulating your own personal, almost your own personal Bible in a way. You're kind of coming to this understanding more deeply of your personal philosophy and your personal theory on existence. And this might sound kind of trite, or it might sound kind of cliche, but the book that you read from, metaphorically, that explains life to you, really is what controls the outcomes that you experience. Because the perspectives that you take on the things that happen will largely dictate the actions and how you react to the things that happen. And that is where all of your power is in your behavior and your actions in life and what you choose to do about things. So if you're changing the book, metaphorically, the book that you use to decode life, if that is changing, everything else is, you know, up for grabs. Everything else that you have struggled with, everything else that you have ever felt was stopping you or holding you back, none of that stuff is untouchable anymore. None of that stuff can't be surmounted anymore, because you're working with a totally new libretto. You're working with a totally different decoder for your life. And so I feel like this is really a change in the meaning that you ascribe to your existence. And this could be coming through with a more like a different relationship with your spirituality. Like, you could be shifting your perspective from, you know, believing in more kind of being like more of an agnostic, to now believing in some kind of divine, you know, force in the universe. Or you could be shifting from believing in a particular spiritual force, and then you see like the face of that is changing, and maybe your feeling oriented relationship with it is growing. It's not that your feeling relationship with it is going away. It's just, it's changing, it's evolving, right? And it's evolving based on your perceptions. That's the key, because it's the Hermit and then your card, right? So it's you figuring out what your personal belief system is without the influence of the outside world to dictate that to you. And as these things shift, Aquarius, as you start to look at life a little bit differently, it's possible that you may be walking away from some relationships or partnerships because you're seeing things through a different lens. And that might mean that you feel that you have different needs, or it might mean that you feel that you can see things that you didn't see before as well. Because we do have the Two of Cups and the Eight of Cups. So for some of you, because this guy is walking away from the Two of Cups, it could be that you're walking away from a relationship in a very mundane kind of practical sense, Aquarius. That could be the meaning. It doesn't have to be romantic. It could also be a business relationship as well. That you're just either getting space from temporarily, like you're like, okay, you know what? I love you, but I have to go on my little pilgrimage to the woods right now and get some time with me, or I have to go on a little trip. Maybe it's not even that a relationship is ending, but you're like, I'm overwhelmed. I need to pack my bags and go on a little vacation just with me. So that could be part of it. It could be getting some space, or it could be the end of a relationship. It really depends on how things are going in your own life and what's right for you. But I am seeing something here as well about, it could be like this feeling of kind of cutting your losses in a way with this, because if you feel like you've been trying to break in to a situation that is already bonded, let's say with the Two of Cups, if that represents, and I'm not feeling this for everyone, this is like a very, very specific example, but let's say you were in a relationship with somebody who was married. You might be, as you go into 2020, really letting go of the desire for that person to leave their spouse, and realizing that you deserve more, or that you want more, or that you're just accepting like the truth of the situation, which can of course be painful if you've become emotionally invested in this hoped for outcome with this individual. But there is a sense of like, once you accept whatever the truth is of the matter, that's when you become free. Paradoxically, when you're no longer putting stock in that, when you're no longer feeling emotionally dependent on that outcome, the world opens up for you. And this could also be in your professional life. If you've been trying to break into, a boys' club at work, or a very cliquey kind of group in a social setting, and you're like, oh, I just really want to be a part of this, but I feel like nobody's really reciprocating my energy, or nobody's really, like I'm reaching out and nobody's reaching back. Like, that could be this kind of energy too. It could also be that you have a friend group, or that you've organized some kind of professional group or network or league of people that you're now realizing, you know what, I built this maybe even, but this isn't for me anymore. And so you're just kind of ready to take those steps in your own direction again. Maybe that's part of who you are, Aquarius. Maybe you are somebody who sets things up, and then you have to be free to go on to do your next thing. Not every dream is supposed to be till death do we part. Sometimes we can serve the universe the best when we lock into a situation where we can serve, and we fulfill that service, and then the universe says, okay, let's go. Like, let's go, because we need you somewhere else. So that can be the situation for some of you. And in the third week of January, we have this kind of confusion that happens, and this is classic narrative on the hero's journey, okay? Sometimes when we're on the hero's journey and we make the difficult decision to walk away from something that was either an illusion or no longer right for us, or, you can think of characters that do this. You can think of characters in movies and your favorite books. Maybe think of some examples right now of much beloved characters that you've read about or seen in stories, that they say no, or they choose not to engage anymore with something that's not quite right for them. And that decision was the right move. That decision is the right move for that character. But immediately after that, they then have to face the challenges of going into the unknown. So you make a good decision. You choose freedom over security. You choose truth over something that's quicksand. And you want to be rewarded right away, but there's this process that you have to go through first. And that's kind of what I see with this Seven of Cups and the Devil, is there could be in the third week of January this period of confusion, okay? This period of feeling a little bit listless and unclear. And I want to talk to you about the reason for this now that I'm thinking about it. So for you, symbolically, this stellium in Capricorn is in your 12th house, which is a very mysterious house. It's kind of the house in the zodiac that, if you think of the houses as parts of the actual home, the 12th house is like the closet that you don't really go into that much, or the attic or something. It's kind of those spaces where we just put things, to the side. And for you, it's almost like with this lunar eclipse as well, that means that the lunar eclipse in Cancer is symbolically in your 6th house. There's a tendency with this energy around the 10th of January. The 10th of January is this eclipse. So highlighting, if you can imagine, your 12th and 6th house axis, you're going to probably be really like working out details in your life that have to do with what's right for you, even in physical ways, your health, your work life, your daily routine, your finances, like the things that really are like I don't want to say burdens, but like the things that are like the daily commitments that you continuously make for yourself to have a better life, those things are going to be engaged with some tension because it's a lunar eclipse, so it's an opposition, some tension with this huge stellium in your 12th, which is your unconscious mind. It's your spiritual self. It's the unknowns within you. It's the mystery within you. So there's this push and pull happening, and I think that you need to be really gentle on yourself in the 3rd week of January. That is really the week that I see art therapy being insanely useful. Like, that's how you can use this kind of mysterious, like, whoa, what is that kind of devilish energy? And then by devilish, I don't mean devilish in a negative sense, but it's like the unconscious realm, the material realm, your shadow side as well. I think that the best way to kind of experience that energy of the 3rd week is to actually go directly into that 12th house stuff that's being activated. Go into that stuff that is your shadow side or is your deeper self. And you can do that through art therapy. You can do that through journaling. You can do that through just free writing and embracing creativity in a bigger way, even playing music or listening to music that really brings you to an emotional place that feels good, obviously. That's going to be the way to use this energy in a controlled, a controlled way. Like, you want to set up the conditions for you to go deep within yourself in this way without acting out any of the potential like negative aspects of this, which would be like addiction, right? Turning to escapism rather than sitting and allowing and accepting the emotions or the doubts that are coming up. So I think that this could actually be an amazing week to make really great art. Not the best week to pick up, a 12 pack and bring it home with you, because it might turn into this thing where you're like, oh, I need to get more, or I need to, you might feel more inclined to escape things that week rather than face them. And that could happen through substances, or it could happen through addictions to things in relationships or approval from others. It can kind of take you off your path. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing. It's not bad energy. No cards are bad. It's just there could be a tendency to lose your footing a little bit when it comes to your sense of clarity of what's really good for you. So I want you to use this kind of Neptunian, kind of shadowy, mystical, but like very strange energy that you could be feeling. Use that to dream up the future, or use that to express yourself creatively, or to have fun with something, or even to do some maybe therapy. But you can access inner contents is my point at this time. So use that wisely instead of unconsciously using it, which would mean that it would work against you. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing. Hopefully that made sense. And at the end of the month, we have the Page of Wands looking over here quite bravely and almost enthusiastically at the Tower card. And this kind of, the way this is depicted reminds me of the Tower card in the Everyday Witch Tarot, where we see this kind of smirking witch in the side, and then we see kind of this tower that she has just blown up with her magic. There's something about the way that this Page of Wands is kind of standing upright. He's got his back straight, he's looking up, he's like embracing this energy, almost as if he's creating it. Or if he's not creating it, at least he's like, wow, what a great show, fireworks, this is happening. So there's something about a major shift that could be going on for you, Aquarius, but you're kind of like that card that I'm describing to you from the Everyday Witch Tarot, where you're kind of like, damn, like, this is pretty sweet, like, I'm here to watch the show. So you could see, for some of you, if you've been working in a company, let's say, for example, and there's been some less than savory kind of things going on under the surface, and it doesn't involve you, but you've known about it and you've maybe even said something, about it, you could see the people involved starting to self-destruct. Like, you could be you know, in the front row eating popcorn, watching this drama go down. And you're like, wow, this is pretty crazy. But you're not really affected by it emotionally because you see, like the Page of Wands sees, you see opportunity in what others may call a disaster. And that may be because of their own behaviors in the past, right? Because these people are falling out of the tower. So we don't know what they were like when they were in the tower. They could have been living life in such a controlled, restricted way that, you know, this was part of this was their own doing, right? So I don't really see you being directly impacted by this, but I do see it as something, even if it is directly impacting you, I see you kind of reacting to it with optimism and seeing opportunity actually. So every kind of challenge is an opportunity, but this one particularly is for you at the end of the month. And you may not even call this a challenge. You might just be like, wow, you know, my industry is changing a lot, and you're excited about how you can take advantage of that, or you're excited about what that might mean for your business. Because if, you know, some kind of big wig gets taken out of their, you know, position, or this organization has been dictating how everybody else has to do things, and then they are disbanded or they go through big internal shifts, that frees open, you know, the door for the little guys. It frees open the market for everybody to have a seat at the table. And that's something that Aquarians love. Like, that's a theme that you absolutely adore, is this idea of bringing power to the people, or bringing some kind of equal opportunity to a situation that has been out of balance. That's something that Aquarians are just naturally inclined towards. So I think if there is something like this going on, it's probably, you can choose to see it more like that, and you'll benefit from that. Okay, Aquarius, those were your messages. I hope this reading has been helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you have any feedback. Let me know in the comments as well. You can just leave me a little comment that says, I'm still here. Or because you do have the Tower card, you can leave me some little fire emojis and be like, I'm ready for this. And let me know that you're still here. That way I would absolutely love to give your comment a little heart and let you know that I've seen it. And yeah, I just love hearing from you guys. I love reading for you every month. So thanks so much for being here. Give this video a thumbs up now if you enjoyed these messages, and share it with an Aquarian friend who you think could benefit as well. Sending you tons of love and lots of blessings as you go deeper into your year. And happy birthday to those of you Aquarians who are going to have your birthday later this month. I hope it's awesome and a really beautiful start to your new year. Sending you so much love and gratitude. Bye.